Joanna, welcome to Collab Cloud. I'm going to directly dive into asking you a few questions about you, your life journey, which has been so inspiring. Uh, Joanna, to start with, what inspired you to choose the current field? Can you tell me about some hurdles that you faced during this journey?
As you said, I've worked in a lot of different fields, and so I've been in this current field for the past few years.
Right.
To go back in my career, I actually started my first job out of college working in Wall Street, and I focused on Latin American corporate finance and had
Okay.
the experience of working in Wall Street in New York as well as Brazil. And after that, I did an MBA and then worked at McKinsey in strategy.
Oh,
And then
wow.
moved into marketing, then moved into media marketing. I was working in television for nearly a decade, and then moved into tech, and then now into VR. And when I look back,
Right.
when I was in the different roles, what I saw was that when there's a moment in your career when you're in a job or in a role and you realize it's not quite the right role for you anymore, and you're starting to think, well, what's next and what's next. I always looked at, okay, what is it that I am best at, that I enjoy the most, where I'm really passionate about in the job. Like, what is that 20% that I'm doing in my job today, and
Right.
how do I make that 80% in my next role? So, for example, way back when I was in Wall Street, I really loved working on projects where in mergers and acquisitions, for example, where we were looking at the strategy of why the two companies would fit well together. And then from there, I moved into strategy consulting. And
Right.
when I was in strategy consulting, the parts of the job that I most enjoyed were around marketing. And so I took that knowledge and moved that into my next role, which was in marketing. And in that role, I loved the marketing aspect, but I wasn't feeling passionate about the product that I was marketing. And so I took that and moved into a role of media marketing, which I was really, really, and still continue to be super passionate about the
Right.
storytelling element of the world of media, and so on. And so, from there, I was very fascinated by the fast-pacing, changing world of innovation and the digital technology,
Right.
and worked in Silicon Valley for a bit. But I missed the storytelling, the content creation side of media, and so I came into virtual reality, which
Yes.
is this perfect blend and combination of both the future of computing and the next wave of computing, as well as our a communication and a connection medium where innovation in storytelling is incredibly important. And so I would say the challenge throughout the career, throughout my career, and the opportunity has been, I've been very lucky to be able to take what I've been up to and what I've been doing and then move that into a new area, and taking the skill sets and what I'm good at and the relationships to the next area and continuously learn and continuously be able to contribute in the roles. But I look at it as this 80-20 of what is the 20% in your job that you're the best at and you're contributing the most on and you most enjoy, and how do you make that 80% in what you're going to do in your next role.
Right. So, I mean, your story has been very inspiring, and in India, at least, women are not given as many opportunities, and you are heading, like you're the global head of at HP. What does your life, your typical typical day in your life look like?
Well, in the pre-COVID time, obviously it was a very different world, and then where we are living right now. In the pre-COVID time, I traveled a great deal. I traveled probably 50%. When I was traveling, it was meeting with partners and customers, and we're going to different events, technology conferences, film festivals,
Right.
where our clients were, our partners were, working with very closely and meeting with our partners all around the world.
Yeah.
And so I spent a lot of our time doing that, but really basically building the virtual reality business for HP, and particularly I was originally focused on location-based entertainment, and then now
Right.
just more broadly on our go to market in general. And so it's a lot of time working with and understanding the virtual reality business and what the market is looking for, what our different clients are looking for, our partners are looking for, in entertainment, in education, in architecture, engineering, construction, and product development, in healthcare and beyond. And so we spend a lot of time working with them and understanding what they need, and then working to figure out what is the best technology that we can offer them, and what is the right strategy for HP. And today, in this new world, in this current world, let's say call it like that, the current world that we're living in, I'm doing a lot of the same things, except no traveling, only Zoom calls. So I spend most of my time on a Zoom call, having those same conversations, same connections, same getting ready, to launch our new products in the market. A lot of it also in virtual reality. So we spend a lot of our time doing meetings and connecting with others, using the actual technology in VR, or otherwise on Zoom calls like this one. And so this is the new way that I get to still stay very, very connected. The power of technology, stay super connected with the market and with the audiences and with everybody. And in some ways, and even more so, because there's no barrier now. Like if I might have been able to come physically to this conference, but I might not have been able to. And so now I'm still able to participate and be there together with you all for this great conference.
And our audience would be really excited, because the main product that we are offering for all the interior designers is VR enabled. So it's a visualization tool, which is VR enabled. So we have about 200 products on showcase, and about 20 brands that are participating in this. And that's why your speech, your conversation was vital to this entire conference. So what I was also thinking is, I met you on Instagram, and you have an impressive digital presence, and in today's world that has become the way to connect to people. So what is your take on digital platforms and social media in general?
Well, I think that what we've seen, I think the positive side of social media is that it gives each of us a platform to communicate and to connect with others. And so that's the positive side. And so each of us, you don't need to only go through huge establishments like the newspaper or the television, or have to have or a movie, or find a publisher to get your work and your ideas out there. And it's easier than ever. You and I might not have met if it hadn't been for social media, and we wouldn't be doing this panel here today, right? And so that's the positive, and that's the upside, that you can connect with people. There's over, I think, of the 7 billion people in this earth right now, I think half of them are internet connected. And so you can connect with people. Half of the people on this earth you can connect with using some sort of digital technology right now. And so that provides us the ability to connect with others, to see things and learn things, and be exposed to things that we might not be otherwise, and to communicate, and really to hopefully understand each other better, and have more empathy and compassion and connection with each other. True. That's the positive.
Yeah.
I think I think that what there is also important to be aware of and cognizant of is that that's not the only impact that social media has had so far. And there's also been, people using the platforms not for positive outcomes, and people have been, the platforms get used for bullying, or get used to put out information that is not true, and that has had potentially negative impact on the public understanding of healthcare, the public understanding of how we should react around COVID, and in some cases even elections. And so I think it's incredibly important that those who are in charge of social platforms and who are responsible, that each of us as individuals use platforms responsibly and take that responsibility on ourselves, and then also those who build the platforms are building them so that they represent the best of us, and that they bring forth the best of us.
Right. My next question is, what are your views on virtual reality in design when it comes to interior spaces and products? And it's in alignment with our conference as well. So, how do you think it will impact the design industry now?
Well, what we're seeing with virtual reality is that it is incredibly powerful and enabling, as the next wave of computing. And so at HP, we're looking at it as, when we're talking to our customer base and our partners, we're seeing that VR enables us to create, to learn, to collaborate, and to connect. And so particularly for interior design, I think the learning, the creation, and the collaboration and the connection, actually really all of those are
All of
so
it.
important.
I will, that brings me to my last question. This year, 2020, has put us into the thinking outside the box kind of situation with all our work. So, what are some modifications that you might have done in your working and complete like rebranding of your entire work situation?
HP has been in the market for 81 years. This is our 81st anniversary.
Yeah.
And HP is credited as being the founders of Silicon Valley. And so our founders worked in Silicon Valley in a garage creating technology with Walt Disney for the movie Fantasia. So, HP has been through many different environments and different times, and has been, successful at continuing to create amazing technology and bring that to our customer base and bring that to our clients and partners all around the world. And so I think HP focused first and foremost on how do we help, how do we support, and how do we look towards the future. And so we focus very much on a digital work life. Yeah. And the first initiatives that came out of HP were all around healthcare, students, and people who needed to work from home. And so we immediately, some of the people in our model lab actually created products for the healthcare workers using 3D technology. And so created masks and respirators and ventilators, and very, very, very soon after COVID started around the world. And so by now we've already produced 2.3 million pieces for the healthcare workers. Okay. So that's one thing that we did right away. We also knew that a lot of students might not be equipped to learn from home. And so we put out a software called HP Refresh, which enabled an older laptop, whether HP or laptop or another or computer, to be able to be used for remote learning. And so that's another thing we did really fast. And then also we have a software called Z Central and Remote Boost, which allows workers to remote into their computers remotely so they might have a more powerful computer at work than they do at home, and allowed them to remote in and we made that free for people for a 3-month period. And that's called Z Central. So we immediately looked at what is it that the world, like what does the world need now? And so who needs our technology now? So it was healthcare, students, and workers, and pretty immediately put all of those into place. And now we continue to look at as people continue to learn from home and work from home, how are we adapting our workforce? How are we adapting for the future? How are we keeping people safe? We put out a hygiene guide of how do you clean our products. And so those are some of the things. So I wouldn't call what we've done a rebrand. I would say that we have adapted and been agile for the time, the same way that the company has, during the last 81 years. And we've been very focused on what do our employees need, what does our customer base need, what do our partners need, and how can we bring that great technology to them.
Brilliant. I think that brings us to the end of this amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Joanna. Bye.
Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.